This is Fictional Problems, the podcast where we discuss all things writing, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On today's episode, we talk about our political alignments, freedom of speech, and how the politics of the world may or may not influence your writing. Join us. Okay, welcome back to Fictional Problems with myself, Gary J. Martin, and
Eowyn McNevin. That's me, you know. Grant. Okay, so going from bad ideas, we're going to talk about briefly politics, or at least a jumping off point.
Yes.
Given that
which might in itself be also a bad idea.
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. So to set the stage slightly, because these don't go out necessarily as quickly as you know. Well, we can. We put these out as quickly as possible. But this is still a few weeks out from the Charlie Kirk killing.
The terrible assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And political violence is wrong in all forms.
In all
forms. I want to state that.
And this is after Jimmy Kimmel was removed from the air after the head of the FCC threatened all manner of political consequences for the channel, the network, and then the network, basically, I imagine, suspended Kimmel indefinitely, consulted with their lawyers, found that the FCC couldn't do jack against them, and brought Kimmel back. So this is.
I did notice upon his return that he produced a note from Disney, which it was quite humorous. He pulled a note from Disney that they asked him to read out on his first night back, which was to reactivate your Disney Plus account, go to the app and follow these instructions. So we presume that a massive cancellation of Disney.
And rightly so. This is a business. So yes. That the reaction, I guess, should be a business one. It's given that this is public airways, then it is, I guess, a vested interest to have as many different points of view as possible. Yeah. And that one side of a political spectrum shouldn't be able to, cancel their side. Cancellation being, because the thing is, cancellation culture is predominantly a weapon of the left rather than of the right, because the right were in power. They tend to be actual cancellation rather than social media cancellation. As in the if you look at the quote unquote victims of cancel culture, they tend to be of the victims would be of the right. The action would be from the left. So the narrative that has been going along is that Kirk was a free speech advocate, which he wasn't, and I maybe should almost pull that back, because I don't want this to be but in my political opinion,
there we go,
he wasn't. That it is a horror that anyone dies for their political beliefs, whether you agree with them or not. It is a tenet of my church, of my political church, that freedom of speech means standing front and center and supporting someone's right, especially if they're saying things that you find you spend a lifetime rejecting.
Yeah, you are free to reject them.
Absolutely.
Which is the point.
Yes. That I think it's a Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park in the UK, where anyone, no matter who they are, can say what they have to say. Yeah. I've often said in the past that whether it be a protest or a parade or anything that happens, I support your right to say it. Just don't fuck with my commute. And that's pretty much it. And
also, I think as writers, it can be of no surprise that we would both be of this very, very similar opinion that we should have a right to be able to say and write
100%
what we want.
Yes.
And not suffer consequences from particular individuals that might disagree with what is said or written.
Yes. We should suffer consequences, but those consequences don't include violence.
Yeah.
We should be or any sort of cancellation effect.
Yeah, because if you're fighting for the right to say and write what you want, you are also subsequently or in complete tandem with that belief, you are believing in the right of people to disagree.
Yes,
freely and openly,
absolutely.
and and non-violently. Yes,
100%. And this thing, so you have to accept the pushback. This is whenever I'm having these sort of conversations, and I've had one or two of these over the last while, that it's interesting to see the person who will straw man your argument versus steel man your argument. And that is, and while it hasn't been universal that the people on that certain political sides are tend to go, oh, you're of this belief, oh, and you're done.
Yeah.
And, while claiming,
you're like, I'm more than one thing.
Exactly. And this is
everyone
is. This is the strange thing that I've got. I've friends who have beliefs which are outside of what they're expected because of their identity. Sure. Their identity classification should, according to say the left, should have these beliefs, and they don't.
Society says you have to believe this because you're that.
Yeah, no, it's like saying that in the elections in the States, it's like saying that all Hispanic and all Black people should vote for the Democrats. And that's not the case.
No.
And there isn't. Indeed, there is a accepted psychological, sociological effect of the first generation of say someone who come to the country, and this goes back to the Irish, who when the Irish got over, the first generation of Americans, so coming from Irish parents or coming from Hispanic parents, they are very opposed to new Irish or new Hispanics coming to the country, because they want to defend what they have. And this is, and using from an Irish point of view, just a historic point of view, this resulted in a lot of Irish joining the police force, the fire service,
town councils, trying to gain some leverage.
Yeah, like this is why up to today, if you, I think it was the three main right-wing speakers had Irish second names. Sean Hannity being, I think, the one that's left, but there was two others who names escaping right now.
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly. Sorry, yes, absolutely. So you still have that pushback Irish right-wingness, essentially, which was an immigrant effect that happens across. It doesn't matter what your identity is. You can have your own opinions.
Yeah.
And it is the assumption that because you have a certain face or you love a certain way that you should follow a certain trend. That's where the left falls into problems more than the right, because the right just assumes everything bad.
Is this being more than the sum of your parts?
Exactly. And you can have expressions of opinion beyond identity. So do you want to, I think I've put my political side, my hat on for a moment. Do you have to add anything?
Well, it's in broad line agreement pretty much with what you've said. It's a case of, because I am a particular category of person, although the particular category of person that I am kind of across society kind of is also known for their wide variety of political opinions. Sure. Like, middle-aged white people, middle-class, middle-aged white people obviously have a wide variety of different opinions on things, as do I. But in terms of, if you were to bring kind of my beliefs back to brass tacks, it's a question of, I agree. Everybody should live in peace. Everyone should have a right to say what they have to say, and they're entitled to their opinion, as long as they, like I was saying previously, as long as they accept that the rights that they have should also be for everybody.
Yes. And
and that's where I am on the political spectrum, I suppose, is that I believe everybody has a right to pursue their own happiness and to pursue their own way of living, regardless of what box or boxes they fall into or
Yes.
are put into by others. You know, it's kind of hard to categorize exactly like whereabouts on a line from left to right I am.
Right.
You know, if there's a broad patch in the middle,
Yes.
that's probably waver from one side to the other, depending on the type of subject matter. So, I mean, that's where that's where I am at. I don't know if that's called indecisive, but
no, it's this thing. I would tend to be of the same in that I've said I've been repulsed by the left and repelled by the right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why so there's those who claim center. This is the kind of the danger of this statement is that there's those who claim the center who really are on the far right, and all this Overton window stuff about how resetting of what is normal. 10 years ago, no one knew what the Overton window was unless you were deeply into politics. That the idea of the narrative. Yeah. This is the focus which I want to bring this to at some point.
Yeah, no, we're bringing it in for a landing here.
Oh yeah,
like bringing it back to writing.
Yeah, that if you claim you're of the center, it is almost you have to justify. But I'm pro women's right to choose. I'm pro divorce, or not pro divorce. I'm pro the rights essentially. Yeah. The litany that maybe Ireland didn't have for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's you have to kind of stress this. I remember having conversations with someone where I said I was egalitarian, and in certain corners of the internet, egalitarian states that it's basically you want equality for all.
Yeah,
but in certain corners of the internet, the definition was changed to we want equality for all, and we're already there. And my opinion and the definition of it is that it's a constant checking.
Yeah, things
will check one way and then go another, and it'll swing, and there'll be all these different settings in society get changed, and this you change this setting and the other ones. It's like on what those, like
a mixing board.
Exactly, like a mixing board. Yeah, you change one thing and the other knobs move.
Treble, bass, middle. Yeah,
but one change here results in 4 changes over there, and you're trying to and
leaky boat.
Sorry,
trying to plug a leaky boat.
Exactly. That you're trying to make sure everything's as balanced as possible. You may never get to that balance point, but you should always try. You should always try make those adjustments as best you can with as positive and as interest in the not just we're going to change things for my benefit, not change things for the benefit of my particular type. Because as soon as you go changing things for your type, then the people who are not your type will then change it against you.
Yeah.
And you're creating you're adding to the wheel that crushes rather than elevates.
Yeah. In terms of kind of, I think politics. If you're writing like a serious narrative, I don't think you can kind of escape politics to some degree, because if it's unless it's you're talking about realms of like kind of comedic or not satirical, now comedic, as in you're going for funny, not satirical.
I would say that's I would actually want to disagree with that, because the best comedy, and this again may be a reflection of how comedy has changed over the while. Like you have the terrible, the Rogan section, that mothership crap, who are just stating political statements and looking for laughs.
Yeah,
because that sort of terrible playing to an audience.
Okay, but perhaps more accurately, if you're going for farcical rather than even comedic, because obviously comedy can be, you're making fun not necessarily of a political issue or a political individual or character or whatever, but if you're going for like slapstick is not talking Naked Gun is not political.
I would challenge you on naming a joke that didn't involve the denigration of one type of person over another. That it is hard to. Well, it is hard for or to put someone, not to put someone down, but to like the comedians that I would like and listen to. They like I'll use Elijah Schlesinger as an example. She has some very good specials, and she spends her time not giving out, but she makes fun of the oh my god kind of girl,
the valley girl.
Yeah, the kind of the valley girl. And she's making, she's not making fun of all women. She's just making fun. She's just making making observational comedy about what she's seen. But there is people who will be of that type.
Yeah, and the reaction is probably the same. Oh my god!
Oh my god! And they're the sheep thing. But all comedians will not particularly target, but it's and whether it be speaking truth to power, that I would say comedy is the hardest form of narrative, because it is not just stating something, not just being able to create a character. It is creating humor, finding the humor in it.
Oh yeah, comedy's difficult.
Which is the hard part. So taking all of this, the main thrust of what I wanted to discuss with yourself.
Yeah.
Like I remember our first conversation back. So a little bit of our history. We knew each other in college. I was there for a year. Then
Two. I survived the first year.
I didn't survive
the quarter quell.
Yeah, nice. And then we reconnected many years later, and one of the first conversations was about writing and about religion. And actually, I think we. And many years later, as only relatively recently, I think it came to the vague conclusion that a person of faith can be written positively, a person of religion can't, because they are bound by strictures.
Yeah,
this is the sort of thing that I quite want to bring up here. Is that we have at the moment these narratives being formed in the world around us. Indeed, we are living in the age of lies. That the
alternative facts, you mean?
I'm going to use my term rather than yours, if that's okay.
Oh, that's not my term. Jesus. Let me disavow myself of that.
Oh,
straight away.
Sure, but it is out and out lies that, and people are accepting. It is whether it be the emperor has no clothes, and Kirk's horrible death is a vector through which we are seeing these narratives grow.
Yeah.
So how do these narratives, and how does the act of creating these narratives affect you from a writing point of view?
Mm.
And as we just talked about just a moment ago, probably on the previous podcast, we were talking about creating of villains.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how you don't need to have your character be a bigot, but you want them to be something. You want them to have, you want them to be understandable.
Yeah.
And looking at how these folks are talking about Kirk from the right and from the left, neither of them are getting. Well, you could say that neither of them are getting the person accurately.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's two separate narratives. There is the joy to go to the extremes. There is the joyous narrative of ha, he's dead. There is the narrative of, well, he said that that occasional deaths are a price you pay for the Second Amendment, and that empathy is a woke mind virus. And now people are saying, then now it's he was one of the victims of the Second Amendment, and the right is demanding that people have empathy for his wife.
Yeah,
which you absolutely should have
empathy for, and his children.
For anyone who has just lost a friend, a family member, a husband, a father. These people deserve time to grieve. They deserve to get for everyone else to get out of their fucking lives.
Yeah,
but that's not happening.
That's not happening.
So
they're being wheeled up on stage.
Oh yes, and
told to dance,
which is again hard. But given that, and in our break, we did mention the idea of the modern writer only creating content. I think neither of us would fall into that character of just characterization of just creating content.
No.
That when your saga is complete, when when Quantumancy is complete, when I have those, that's something that I'm going to have hopefully have a pride in, have something that I can go back to and go, yes, this was me at this point in my life, but also I have built something that hopefully that someone in the future can read and enjoy, and get something from. This current time, these current narratives that are built up around, are they impacting? Do you think that they are impacting your writing or impacting you as a writer?
Impacting myself as a writer, I'm not so sure. Basically, the current project that I'm working on, which is the War of Souls Apocrypha, that has been constructed prior to now.
Oh, sure.
So, but in terms of like an overall arc, overall story, or the would today's events or current, or like, is there going to be kind of reflection of today contained in, say, the next book to come out? Is like, are there going to be elements? I think so, actually, because I think I was mentioning the current chapter I'm working on, where essentially what I have happening is
horrible.
Well, in the story,
yes, yeah. Not that the story is horrible. That the event happening within it, is
so yeah. There's
impactful,
yeah. And what is going on? The way I creating this particular section, kind of, it's. You could read some of today's, like, I mean, there's so much happening in the world at all times, maybe, but the event is essentially, it could be called like a false flag operation.
Sure.
Which is a very familiar term these days.
Yes.
So but there's a group of soldiers.
Don't go into too much detail.
Yeah, but there's a group of soldiers in the uniform of
their enemy.
Yeah. Essentially attacking themselves for a purpose of creating outrage.
Yeah.
And creating a narrative within the city,
which is what the writer claiming about every type of right-wing action that happens. They claim that any violence is caused by Antifa. They claim essentially a false flag, that they're people who are driven to buy guns, who are they're driven to violence.
Yeah.
Oh no, not to violent rhetoric.
But would I say that, like, I took inspiration from a particular false flag operation? No,
sure,
just more so being aware of the concept might have inspired it to be reflective. Like, if someone is reading this now, they will be able to kind of relate to something they've either heard or something that someone on some political talk show has talked about, where it's a case of, the generation of outrage is a lot more powerful than 100 soldiers like attacking another group of soldiers.
Yeah.
If the population of a city is outraged at a particular group all of a sudden because of nothing they did.
Yes.
But it's something that they thought happened.
Yes.
And it's something they thought that group did.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful idea to try and quell.
Yes.
And I guess, like, in an overall kind of strategic, like, in the War of Souls, what's happening is there's multiple fronts.
Yes.
Going on at the same time, but not all of them are combat. Like, it's kind of psychological warfare is being utilized in one corner, and that's kind of what that is. And psychological warfare is very, very much a tool of politicians.
Yes,
fear, create fear, keep everyone. Actually, there's an excellent scene in the movie Ants.
Okay.
Do you recall it, where this is, I think James Woods is the grasshopper.
Okay.
And the grasshoppers are in charge and trying to keep the ants in line.
Okay.
And one of the other grasshopper is like, what are you worried about? It's just one ant. And he's like, no, if you let one ant stand up, they might all stand up sometime.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting there, and he kind of takes a seed from the day and he throws it at the other grasshopper and goes, "Did that hurt?" He goes, "Of course not. That didn't hurt." He goes, "What about this?" And he throws another one at a different guy, and they're all laughing. They're going, "No, no." And then "What about this?" And he opens the chute, and all the seeds come out and just like pulverize the other grasshoppers. And he's like, "This is what can happen if you let one ant stand up, and they'll all stand up. It's not about food; it's about keeping them in line."
Right.
And it's a great scene.
Sure.
But you kind of go, that's what's going on in the mindset of the people in power. It's a case of, I don't want to give them benefits. What I want to do is keep them in line.
Yes.
By any means necessary.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you can definitely utilize what you see around you in the world and politics across the spectrum, across the EU and across America, everywhere. And you can kind of adapt. You can kind of use it as subversion, or you can kind of use it as reflection for people to kind of either see themselves in or to see something that they're relating to and kind of don't like. And kind of, so if it's written in a particular way or with a particular skill, hopefully someone will be able to get the point that you may or may not be making, but it's definitely a point that they can pick out of it.
Yeah.
What you've written.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. That I think that there is even if it's just a tactic or a
weapon.
I was going the other way, kind of more of a kind of a concept.
Okay.
Than that can be employed or deployed into the story. That it is. I guess it's a useful, because you were already planning this type of story.
Yeah.
So this wasn't. It was. So would you perhaps say that it was a fueling of an existing idea rather than the manufacture of an idea?
I'd say there was definitely elements that I had in mind, kind of regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had this idea that there would be multiple fronts of attack. There'd be not only, like I said, not only combat, not only like armies clashing, not only individuals battling for survival themselves, or who they're trying to defend or whatever, but also that there's like even in the first book, there is kind of a secret underground action that's being taken that no one's aware of.
Sure.
There's kind of there's a cancer rotting away the heart of the city without anyone ever realizing it. And it's like psychological warfare. It's the planting of ideas, the sowing of seeds, the creating of outrage, and the citizens rising up of their own accord.
Yeah.
But it just how happens to be completely in line with the plan that they had thought out all along in order to bring this city to its knees.
Yeah.
So I always had an idea to kind of have different individuals or different sides of the conflict wield these weapons, in order to achieve their goals. And like that, you have one side that is, if I was to tell you, there's one individual and he's fighting for everyone's right to be free, everyone's right to live how they want to live, everyone's right to throw off the yoke of oppression. And you go, wow, that's the hero, that's obviously the protagonist. He goes, no, that's the antagonist.
Sure.
That's the antagonist of the story.
Yeah.
Whereas conversely of that, you have the other character, and she represents the establishment.
Yeah.
She represents the existing order of things.
Yeah.
She's fighting against anyone that wants to change that.
Yeah.
She's following the orders that she was given.
Yes.
You could say blindly, or you could say loyally, without question. And you go, ooh, well, that sounds like someone that kind of needs to think about their life and reassess their values.
Sure, yeah.
And you go, no, that's the protagonist.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted to construct this story, is that you could read it and someone could go, well, I see a lot of value in what this one side is doing.
Yes.
But I don't agree with their methods. Or you go, I see a lot of value of what the other side is trying to protect or trying to keep in place. But that will result in perhaps a worse life for more people if they're successful. So it's like I wanted to create that completely like you mix white paint and black paint, and you kind of stick your fingers in and swirl it all around. Great.
Yeah,
that's where I wanted to go with it, and I wouldn't say necessarily I'm pulling from what's happening now, because I try to keep the bubble
right.
Kind of, even though it's difficult enough to totally cut yourself off from what's happening in the world without party kind of even subconsciously wanting to include either either a critique or a supportive kind of voice, like the author bias, I suppose, kind of comes into it. Like I said, maybe unconsciously, but there are parts where you're consciously like, no, I want to leave it up to the reader as they read to make their own opinions, because, as I said from the start, I'm right in the middle and kind of go from one side of the middle to the other side of the middle. And I do believe that everyone's free to have their own opinions and to make up their own mind about how they want to live and what they want to see and what they're reading as well. So in creating this particular story, that's where I want to get a reader to, somewhere where they're making up their own mind about who they think is right.
Sure.
And see where it goes from there.
There's many moons ago, when I was still screenwriting, I wrote a screenplay and spec about a robot that committed murder. So this was after Ex Machina, which is a terrible movie about
a robot,
about a trick about boobs, or trick using boobs. That in this future, basically human-looking robots were available.
Yeah.
Which meant, and they were available to everyone, and there was a two-sided political argument about whether or not these robots should have rights.
Okay.
And I did write them from a kind of I didn't specify Democrat and Republican, but I did. But it was the tenor of one side was very much of one side, and the tenor was of the other. And so this robot essentially kills their quote unquote owner's neighbor, and the trial happens, and the trial essentially is to prove whether or not did the robot kill the other person, or did a machine malfunction?
As in, can the law as written be applicable to someone that's like, is the law written that a person shall not kill another person is in the legislation?
No.
But that's
also another story.
Yeah.
But you can, from a law point of view, absolutely. From my thing was, if it was the question is, did it kill, or did she murder?
Yeah.
If it killed, then it's a machine that was faulty and it's on the trash heap. If she murdered, then she's for the electric chair.
There's intent.
Sorry, there is no, but she is proving to be a person. If she's a person, then the law applies. If the law doesn't apply, if it's an it, then you can't accuse a car of murder. You accuse them or say a malfunctioning car that blows up, or that you don't. That it is a manufacturer's problem. It's not even manslaughter.
Yeah.
It's just it becomes non-criminal almost. So, but at the end of both stories, whether or not, if it's she, she'll be executed. If it's an it'll be destroyed.
Right. Okay.
So the end. So it's just the result of it. Because the one line that it was, it didn't matter. Like the trial ends, and the two sides two lawyers meet. One brings a bottle of whiskey along, and the two of them are having a chat, and the outcome of the case is never given.
Oh no!
But the line,
I'd be like flipping the last page, going, "What?"
But the line that is given is, it didn't matter the outcome. The owner was still would still be looking at the full catalog.
Ah, God, yeah.
Because his essentially sex bot, or his home helper, whatever you want to call it, if it malfunctioned, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
If she murdered, she's
terminated.
She will be terminated, or she will be get the electric chair, or she will be in prison. And it was a case of it did so, and this in one way reflected the callousness of, because you would say that the people who want more rights tend to be on the left, people who want restricted rights tend to be conservative on the right.
Yeah.
So essentially, the people who wanted to prove her personhood wanted her to be electrocuted.
Yeah, if you put it that way, yeah.
So they're willing to throw a person that they think is real. Literally, they want her to be killed for everyone else, a sacrificial lamb, a scapegoat for their political ends. And this is this one.
Robot Jesus,
absolutely, because it is, and as a sacrifice for the greater good, or their version of the greater good. Yeah. And indeed, at the time I gave the copies of the script out to different people to read, and I should have given out an even number, or I should have insisted on getting feedback from an even number.
Okay.
But I got seven people got back to me on it, and I can't remember the split of which side, but it was 4-3. So an eighth person would probably push, because it was, and the fact that split was so down the line probably spoke to, or hopefully spoke to, the reader's perception rather than the writer. Because if
reader's bias,
yes, well, you bring your own bias into the story. So someone reading the next book in your series, and if they have the book today,
yeah,
and if they were fully submerged in all the minutiae that's happening right now, would they see that false flag attack as being linked to the Kirk assassination? Would they think that you're doing that, or would they suddenly change their minds? For example, they could be of the people who think that Kirk, not the more hateful side of the people who think, or who are thinking about this. They suddenly change their opinions of your characters.
Yeah.
Because of this. And this is so just to kind of give my side of the influence, I would hope that the answer is not that I'm not influenced by it. I hope that I'm already pretty well based, and that's the correct word of the use of the term base, not the common, not the modern word of the term, as in to be soaked up in. Goddamn kids and they're so I am in this case not based.
Kids and their music,
and their hair and their all their jazz. I am not based. I am based in the political shenanigans that it is. I accept that these narratives are being forged out with that Trump's doctors aren't telling him that he's in great shape.
Yeah.
My position on that is, anytime you hear Trump complaining about someone else,
projection.
It's like
Seems to be, yeah.
Whenever like Trump would complain about Sleepy Joe around the time he got his psychological evaluation. So when they're saying you're in danger of Alzheimer's, or you're having mini strokes, or whatever the thing is, that's when he started to talk about because he has only so much memory, and it's all self-centered.
Yeah.
Because and it's not to say that I wouldn't or I shouldn't impose and take my politics and put it into my books, because the politics is there. They in Quantumancy we have essentially a pope, a hierophant character we have, who is dominant over Washington D.C. We have a very liberal witch faction. We have the Hermetic mages who are a political force in themselves.
Yeah.
But that's more of a reflection of nerd culture. As in, I would always describe quantumancy as a science fiction being written in fantasy terms.
Yeah, which is great.
Well,
Yeah, enjoyed it.
So I think that the actions being taken aren't political. They are doesn't the entire purpose and the entire plot, which is kind of kicks in the gear in the third and will be in the fourth book, is about changing the world. Is about the world has been changed, and it's, if you want to take a political view of this, it's the core of quantumancy is it starts off with a change. The world changed on 3rd of October 2003.
Yeah.
Magic came back, technology stopped. And all the people who currently exist, this is now 20 years later, they have been been soaked in that change, magic being change. And now
they have been adapted or have adapted to the magic returning.
But now they want to, how do they stop that process? How do they reach a point of equilibrium? And this is all the politics that's happening in Albany is all about people imposing their will on the world. You have a bunch of hundreds of mages, of people who they're likely have lived for 20 or 30 years in modern times.
Yeah.
They suddenly got given magic, and now they can do all this stuff. Imagine a technocracy of geeks who spent their entire lives being
nerds with fireballs.
Nerds, yes, that is absolutely the Hermetic orders. They are, and you have all these different types and all these different. But it is people who have been granted this. They've seen billions die. And they've seen themselves being chosen almost. That can have a political impact in that while Kim Jong-un or Berlusconi or Trump or any of the people may not, they think themselves chosen. These people are throwing fireballs. These people can actually impact the world in a significant personal way.
Yeah.
So the question is, the political impact or political events of this world. I'm not sure if Kirk's assassination will have more of an effect on what it may change how certain scenes are written.
Yeah, but if not now, look historically as well. I mean, this is the most recent and most popularized political assassination, but it's not the first.
Sure, no, absolutely.
These type of things have occurred throughout all of human history. So, in many ways, you can say, today's modern politics is influencing a narrative. How does the narrative of the world influence the narrative of your story? Yeah, if you're a student of history, that could have a similar narrative impact on your story as being a student of politics.
Yes,
you could go. Yes, there's it's about power struggles. If you look at monarchy versus democracy, all these kind of themes and subjects could be placed anywhere in the entire historical timeline.
Yep.
I just
no. I guess and. The one thing, because as you were talking, the one thing that jumped into my head was that this may be the most recent political assassination. Actually, we've had too many. Well, one is too many. And the thought that struck to me was that, well, in years gone by, it was a unifying effect. The assassinations of MLK, of Kennedy, of these sort of things were unifying. And then I immediately had the next thought of actually no.
Yeah.
While maybe the grander field there, but it wasn't. It shut people up rather than rather than having a unifying effect, it was that the contrary went quiet.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, perhaps if you're to take the Martin Luther King versus the assassination of John F. Kennedy, whereas John F. Kennedy may have had a unifying effect on all Americans in equal shock.
Sure.
As to how could this possibly have happened, and like a nation mourns. With the death of Martin Luther King at that time, there was only a section of the society that was mourning, but give it the length of time, and his brilliance and his excellence translates across the time, and it becomes more of a tragedy in light of how things went thereafter.
Absolutely.
Whereas at the time, JFK's assassination seems to like that was like a bomb going off.
Yeah, but I don't think that any assassination caused someone who disagreed with the victim to suddenly change their mind towards the victim. They may have had enough respect to put it poorly, shut the hell up. Not that the left should. Sorry, I should say that. Not that I'm seeing the left. This one is different, not in the unification effect, but that there is a crafting of a narrative. There is a crafting of a narrative which is partly repugnant and partly it deserves rebuke. That saying that the victim was a type of person that he wasn't, that deserves rebuke. But allowing and just getting out of the people's face, doesn't it? This should be, whether it be a public or private affair, whatever Trump wants to do, have flying things at flags at half mast. Sure, do all that. Just don't canonize the guy, because
there's a beatification of someone who is assassinated.
Yes,
someone in the public eye that's assassinated. You know, the whole adage of, oh, well, you don't speak ill of the dead.
Yeah. And
which
sure,
is fine.
And absolutely give time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You shut the hell up for a few weeks, let the people grieve. But you don't also have the thing of in the past month, there's been 5 school shootings. Trump didn't say a word about them. There's been multiple Democratic assassinations. There, the Minnesota senator was murdered by a specific political assassin. Her and her husband were killed. And when Trump was asked about it on the day of Kirk's death, his response was, "Who?" Yeah. So this is beyond. This is not. This is very quickly, and I think at the cause of the right is beyond. Is beyond one person's death. The narrative, and this is why I keep on bringing, or want to bring this up. This is about crafting of a narrative and how it's affected us as writers. And I have to say, while my current crop of projects, I don't think will be as directly affected, because the narratives are focused on the characters as established. Yes, some of the scenes, even some of the words, and this is the thing, that a single word change can alter a path. You change a few words in a scene, how a character is described,
it can take on a different meaning, and
to a greater or lesser degree, to a greater or lesser. It could be positive and negative. It could detract from the narrative. It could enhance the narrative. That rather than it being a bland character that was just there for one scene, suddenly that character grows legs. That has a feel for them that lasts, because they, in your head, matches or are reflective of a certain narrative.
But like I say, you can take. I don't know if this is harking back to our discussion on inspiration and where inspiration comes from, and, and how the narrative comes from. But you can absolutely, in terms of forming a narrative, look at the world today, and you can try and write a reflection for people to see, like the old cliche of, oh, you hold up a mirror.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, as someone who has studied ancient Greek and Roman civilization,
sure,
we don't change ever. Human
This is
beings,
true, yeah.
human beings have, like, you know,
But we're also talking about a snapshot, a tiny snapshot of time.
a tiny
Greek
snapshot.
and Roman is what, 6,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Yeah, sorry,
Or
2,000.
at least 2,000 for Rome.
Yeah, and then Greek is what, another 1,000 years beyond that. Well, that Theopoly was what, 3,000 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sorry, like you're talking Peloponnesian War. You're talking democracy forming in Athens.
Yes. So you're
talking emperors or consuls taking over Rome, and then Julius Caesar declaring himself dictator for life.
Sure.
Thousands of years in the making, and the fundamental needs, fundamental kind of desires and power struggles, that sort of thing is kind of a universal truth in the existence. It's just part of the human condition, if I was to put that in air quotes.
Oh, no, yeah.
And so you can absolutely look at today and go, this is good, this is bad, whatever parts of the political spectrum you're looking at, and go, yeah. But as well as that, you could stick on the Wayback Machine and have a look into the past, and you can see these people are exactly the same. They're doing the same things. They're, like the whole idea of the Colosseum was keeping the mob in
sure, and that's social
under
media.
control. Yeah, exactly. It was like, we will put on a spectacle of games, blood sport to keep the people entertained.
Yeah.
So they are distracted from the fact that I'm doing a bad job as leader.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's always going to, like, the motivations are universal. We can't escape our human nature, and that's both good and bad. There are sainted people. There are
villains,
absolute villains, and there or what was it? I read this thing was that the three types of people in the world. There's the sheep. I don't particularly like this, but I heard it and I thought, that's interesting. There's the sheep, the sheepdogs, and the wolves.
Yeah. Where's that from?
I can't remember where I heard it from, but it's essentially saying that
it is a reductive. So
it's very, and there are not only three people.
Yeah,
just to get that clear.
It's what's the line is that there's two types of people in the world. There's the people who think there's only two people in the world, and then there's me. Or there's people who are right.
Yeah, but if you're writing a narrative, and what I aim and hope to achieve when with what I'm writing is to not only write something that's entertaining.
Yes.
Not only something that I would like to read, but something that people can find value in, on whatever level, whether they're looking for, just people that care about each other, or they're looking for, just big action, or they're just looking for a distraction. They're looking to be taken out of this real world,
sure, for a time,
for a time, and go somewhere else. But our universal kind of truths don't vary a hell of a lot over the countless centuries, and nor will they going forward. We're not all of a sudden going to take a left turn and just become enlightened beings of light.
This is true.
Nor are we going to all devolve, and even though it doesn't seem like that's not unlikely, we're not all going to devolve into pit dwelling fiends either.
No, absolutely, and
we have to resist.
Yeah, and it's almost like the political and social is just it's the temporary. It's whether you're shitting in the woods or shitting in a gold-plated toilet, you're still shitting.
Yeah, everybody poops.
Yeah, everybody poops. Actually, when you're
very popular book,
a very, very popular book, because it is a prime reaction that everyone does. Indeed, when you were talking about the idea of people wanting to get away from life, it is, because I keep on complaining about the archetypal modern writer who wants to include as much present day, this present day surface as possible. And I was like, no. Like we've talked before, and I've ranted before about inclusion and there is good ways to do inclusion and bad ways to do inclusion. And we talk, from a fantasy and sci-fi point of view, we're talking about aliens and elves. Those two different
Don't
types.
forget dwarves. I'm just kidding. I know what you mean.
The aliens and elves, those two different types of Nazis.
Damn elvish Nazi.
Damn elvish Nazi. That there is a story that is not just written for modern consumption.
Yeah.
That we should be aiming to we should listen to me, that to be because you can write and just create stories for now, and that's it. You can create your version of Twilight, your version of whatever, and put it out there, and sell your copies.
Yeah.
But if you're going to write something for everyone to read, then there should be almost something, and this is an odd way to bring this to close, or to bring this towards a close, is that one should acknowledge the events that are happening and not hide from them.
Sure.
But then try to acknowledge where you're being influenced by them.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't try to like shoehorn in.
Oh no, but
there's like a political assassination. I go, oh, that's a great idea. I'll shove that in, even though it has no place in.
I mean that as you're writing your false flag attack.
Yeah.
To consider, okay, what am I doing here? As I write, like, say, the thing I'm working on, and I will be working on when I'm at home tonight, is about the kind of the Graham Hancock, kind of the Atlantean stuff.
Yeah.
Which is and I'm a nice history buff, as you are too, that that's completely false. These things didn't exist. But in this fantasy sci-fi setting, it does exist.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to exclude my revulsion of the charlatan while using.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm being mindful of essentially the political aspect of the denigration of archaeology, which is happening in the real world, while trying to include elements of their narrative, their false narrative, in my story. So what I'm, I guess, suggesting is being aware of how these are influencing one's writing, and not turning what could be a good character into its own arch. Like, say, if I have a character who is an allegory for Graham Hancock, then I should change him.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I shouldn't use my very, very small pulpit. Tip, tip, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click.
Character assassination.
Exactly. Well, clearly this person knows nothing. It should be the best version of that argument.
Yeah.
Should be presented, and and that I'll conclude my bit by saying that is the best revenge.
I will immortalize you in fiction.
Yes, the line from A Knight's Tale.
From A Knight's Tale, yeah. Geoffrey Chaucer's character.
Yes, wonderful. That
you will be eviscerated in fiction.
Erased in fiction.
Yeah, I might have been naked for a day. You'll be naked for eternity.
Yeah, that's a lovely line. Apparently, that comes from a period where, in history, Chaucer disappears for 2 years. They don't know where he was for those. And then this is hundreds of years ago, and it's not like he had diaries or had everything was. So it was, so this guy. So when they wrote the narrative for this, it was like, okay, let's throw him into here. He was just happened to be hanging around at a fake, non-existent tournament. So it just had a nice feel to it.
It was nice, yeah.
But but make the argument, as in steelman the argument. So if I have a Hancock-esque allegory character, that give him a better argument than the bullshit that when it comes out with.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, I guess the last thing I just wanted to touch on before we wrap up is kind of something that happened. I wanted to just if we cast our minds back all the way to the Star Trek, the original series.
Okay, yeah.
It's very clear to see in the writers of that show how they were disguising the politics of the day.
Sure.
in what they were writing. Like they were tackling kind of, air quotes, issues. They were tackling real world issues, and doing it in such a way that it mightn't necessarily have, well, it offended those people that were trying to take offense, or that wanted to take offense.
Yes.
But it was brilliant in how it dealt with those, tensions of war, everything that was going on in the early 60s, even this, like, or it was 60, you might have the dates of the original Star Trek.
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, no!
TOS wasn't my thing. TNG was.
Okay, fair enough. But just...
Although I'm pretty sure I watched all the episodes of TOS. They ran on repeat on Sky for so long.
Yeah, well, one thing that I remember, like documentaries about Star Trek, the original series, talking about in terms of the racial issues that were going on at the time.
Yes.
The fact that Uhura was a black woman in such a position of power as well was offensive to large parts of society.
And you had a Russian. You had a Russian. And
you had a Russian. Yeah, you had Sulu was Japanese.
Yeah, within years of internment.
Yeah. So, like, I think one of the reasons why you're talking about writing for now as opposed to
from the future.
For the future.
Yeah.
The writers of Star Trek at the time, I think they were doing both.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because they were envisaging a utopian future, if like a world in which all nations, all people of Earth come together.
Yes.
In a kind of harmony, and that the differences just dissolve away when you compare us to, oh wait, there are Vulcans and there are Klingons, and like, oh well, we're all human at the end of the day.
Oh, sure, but it's a bigger narrative, or it's a bigger discussion, because you could say that once you can be one big happy planet, if you've got someone outside the planet to be against. It's the reason why,
or to help you along, as the Vulcans did in the narrative. Then they helped them come together.
Yes, but once
in friendship.
Oh yes, but you have the Andorians, you have the Romulans, you have the Klingons.
Yeah, well, conflict was needed for the stories.
Yes, but they were the threat from outside. Yeah. It's the line of every war of independence is followed by a civil war, because all the factions that will go, okay, we're against the big guy, we're against the British Empire. As soon as we get rid of the British Empire, we fight.
Yeah.
This is the reason why there is Pakistan and India. It's the reason why there's separation in this country. There is a reason why there was the civil war in the States had other reasons than just this, but you could still link it back to once independence happened, there was difference of opinion about how to run their new country.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say that yes, that TOS did it, had some fantastic elements to it. I think TNG had some wonderful elements. I think TNG is just amazing.
But that dealt with things like your drug addiction. The Next Generation dealt with the next generation's
issues,
pertinent issues. Yeah.
Well, it didn't. So there was one basically what could be considered transgender episode. It didn't do a gay episode, and I think one of the first gay characters in sci-fi was in Babylon 5.
Okay.
And they minimized that relationship due to channel insistence, as in they had the two women sharing staying over, but at no point, and the one line where the character confesses the love for the other woman was within such a momentous moment, which within such a momentous moment it was almost hidden. There was one person confessing drug addiction, one person saying that he's going to lose control, and one person confessing to being gay, outing themselves. So, and then things Dax in DS9 was the first time they actually addressed had a out gay character, and they did so in a within world thing. So they never did, because it was a woman who had feelings based on essentially another person, her former male self. So it wasn't a direct. It was softly in that direction, which is grand, but it wasn't as
Yeah, I
authentic.
know. I just I was mentioning it as kind of an example of how politics can be kind of subtly or overtly disguised.
The politics of TNG was fantastic.
Yeah.
They had every admiral was a shitheel, but you saw discussion that they had around. They had a curved table, and Worf was always wrong, but they at least had those positions. They had all the positions mentioned. And then you have New Trek, because New Trek is, again, it's not like they try to do it. I don't think they even try to do it. Like, say, Measure of a Man. Fundamentally, one of the best single episodes of TV ever written by Melissa Snodgrass, a fantastic science fiction writer. She crafted this a courtroom. Where is data
trial?
Is data machine property or a person? And they end with, I don't know, but we're going to give him the chance to find it himself.
Yeah.
So and Bruce Maddox was the antagonist of that story. He had a genuine interest in doing good. He wanted to do these things, and it was the kind of the slavery revelation.
Yeah.
Slavery was something he hadn't considered, and it was the line at the start where the judge says sometimes people of good conscience have to resort to these sort of adversarial conflicts.
Yeah.
And it was a crucible of truth, as again a line that Picard used. To shred away the irrelevances and left with the truth. And it was Maddox. Maddox didn't challenge it.
Yeah.
He referred to data as he, not it, at the end.
He just kind of drops the head.
Yeah, but it was a understanding that he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he was wrong in this moment. That his beliefs were questioned, and he had something to consider about.
Yeah.
That and when you have TOS doing the same thing, or sorry, not TOS, the new Trek, it utterly fails.
Yeah,
because it's all about what the person looked like, and that's it. And it really hurts because you could have so many great stories with such a diverse cast of characters. As you mentioned, the bridge of TOS. I can't name the characters on Discovery. I can barely name the characters on
Spock. He's Spock's in there on Brave New Worlds, isn't he?
He's on Brave New World. Yeah,
I can't remember.
But the
Ike.
But I can't name the. I think one of them's called on Brave New World. One of them's Sung, and I couldn't name the original characters. And because they're not characters; they're caricatures.
Mm-hmm.
It almost hurts to watch. It hurts to watch.
Remember, everybody, give your characters some depth, not just an appearance. There's deeper than surface level.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have solved certain fictional problems today. Maybe not.
And caused more.
Caused more fictional problems than we solved. That's the goal.
Yes.
That is the goal.
Well, we have to think of the future. We have to have something to talk about next week.
We need infinite speculative problems.
Yes.
As our tag says. Okay, yeah, we're going to leave it there for now. We never got to plagiarism.
At some point we will.
Maybe we will just get a transcript of this episode and do this. We'll just read it for the next episode as an example of plagiarism of ourselves.
That could work. Yeah, absolutely.
But until that time, Alan, thanks very much for everything you've had to say, and it's been a pleasure.
Until next
time, all the best, everybody. Thank you for listening to Fictional Problems in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On our next episode, we'll discuss our personal philosophies and how they relate to our writing, whether it's seeking distinction between the group and the individual, or trying to leave the world better than you found it. Join us.